with Azorius Flash against Franklin Morales playing Izzet Phoenix. This should be fun. Both these players take a look at their opening hands. Deck list will be available for you via Cardboard Live momentarily. And I'm looking. Okay, there are 4 copies of Treasure Cruise here in Franklin's deck. He'll start things off with a Spire Bluff Canal. For Martin, it's a Plains, and that's game.
Busted. Go with Smuggler's Copter. Go with your mana when your opponent won't cooperate.
Make a clue. This is a thing in the ice.
And this card is some trouble for Martin. He does not play with a whole lot of creature removal, and his deck is about getting a lot of presence onto the battlefield through creatures. It is not strong against Reflector Mage necessarily.
It's true.
But this is one of the better cards you could bring to the table against Azorius Flash.
Another 3-1 Spectre. Oh, yeah. There's the fun land.
And see, it didn't really cost you any stumbles in your curve. You can tell yourself.
Just doing a little farming.
Ooh.
Two mana. Another copy of Thing in the Ice here for Franklin Morales. Pass the turn back with no third land, so we'll go back over to Muller. Does he have a third land? It appears as though... Well, it looked like he did. He's got a Hallowed Fountain there.
Yeah, I think the issue here is if he plays a Hallowed Fountain and passes, it's a little bit too obvious what's going on here. So I think he'd rather develop his battlefield a little bit and be able to better conceal the spell queller the following turn. Because if you play a 4th land that enters the battlefield tapped, it's not weird that you would just pass and say go. But if you play Hallowed Fountain, untap, and pass, you're kind of giving up the whole game there.
Smuggler's Copter, Hallowed Fountain tapped, pass the turn back. Morales has drawn a third land. It's another copy of Spire Bluff Canal, and he'll pass the turn back with an Izzet Charm at the ready. So we head back over Martin Muller's way. Settle the Wreckage in hand along with Reflector Mage and the aforementioned spell Quella. Selfless Spirit as well. Well, there's a Hallowed Fountain untapped there for Martin. And just going to pass. Not in a rush. Also, at the very least, this allows him to draw cards with the clues.
Yep.
So, gives him something to do. Izzet Charm.
It also just conceals the most about the nature of his hand. You're signaling that you have 4 mana worth of stuff to do. Even if that's not necessarily true, Morales has to play around a much greater range of possibilities. It looks like the 4 mana card in Muller's hand, though, is Settle the Wreckage,
That's
which
correct.
Gives him some insurance against Morales totally shooting the moon this turn with a bunch of spells. Unlikely to be a card that he's playing around, and then you get to snag the Awoken Horrors, your 3-1 Inspectors are back in your hand, it's all good. And even if Morales doesn't cooperate, the 2 damage is not worth that much against sort of concealing the nature of your hand.
Well, Lightning Axe on Thraben Inspector. This could be really not good for Franklin.
We might see a Settle the Wreckage here to get us
There's
on
an
the
opt. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. Top card going to become the bottom card. Draw a card with opt. Found a wild slow. No.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's
That's
so early in the
boy.
weekend for this.
Yeah. This. Yep. That's going to get bounced.
My 3 Inspectors died to a Lightning Axe, and now the other one's back in my hand, and I'm about to take 14. How can I possibly...
14. You think it's only 14?
Oh,
That was spell 3.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
no! Oh no! I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Yeah. This is.
It's gonna be.
Do you want the other Phoenix? Do you not want the other Phoenix?
Is it on his? There's no way. There's no way it's on the radar, right? Are we about to see some next? Oh no! Impossible!
I'm a little impressed.
Impossible!
I'm a little impressed.
Franklin.
All right. All right. That could have been the nightmare scenario.
Wow. I would have lost everything 100% of the time there. So much discipline.
All right, not bad. Not
Franklin,
bad.
welcome to the feature match area.
Yeah. That could have went way worse.
Yeah. I just don't buy that you played a Hollow Fountain on tap and you have no interaction for anything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
Yeah. But I just wanted to crack 2 clues. That's why I did that. I don't believe you. Still not good.
Yeah, the Cellar Wreckage is still well worth the mana there for Polar, but Morales comes away with some mana and still some stuff on the battlefield. Very impressive.
Glacial Fortress the draw. Martin's going to get moving now. Reflector Mage. Get that thing out of here. Crew. Beatdowns. Trigger. Draw. Picked up an island.
And speaking about, this Copter here versus other decks, I think Azorius Flash plays the card maybe the best of any deck in the format because unlike Mono Red, what you're paying for in your creatures is not haste. What you're paying for is enters the battlefield triggers and their ability to do stuff even if they're not eligible as attackers or blockers, like Selfless Spirit.
Selfless Spirit post-combat. The discard was the island that Martin did draw from the Smuggler's Copter. Now here's Crackling Drake. We'll get a trigger. Franklin will draw a card. Playing just 2 copies of Crackling Drake here this weekend is Morales. There's a Steam Fence, and there's a battlefield tapped. We're going to head back over to Martin. Martin in a good position this game. Could have been in an outstanding position with that Settle the Wreckage, but still did plenty. It looks like he's going to start his turn by sacrificing a clue. Picked up another copy of Reflector Mage.
You got to keep the offense going here.
You sure do. Reflector Mage is going to take care of Crackling Drake, or at least it's going to try, and will succeed. Now it's time to crew up the Copter. Beatdowns. Any interaction here from Morales? Martin would like to draw and discard. And it looks like Morales may have some sort of piece of interaction with the Wild Slash in hand.
Yeah, you can take care of the Selfless Spirit. I think there's a question of, does he need to keep the spell back in his hand to try to transform Thing in the Ice the following turn, or can he use the Wild Slash this turn and manage the battlefield a little bit?
There's the Wild Slash, going to go after the Selfless Spirit. Sacrifice that response. Now draw and discard with the Copter. Picked up a Plains. That'll go to the graveyard. 5 damage will come across. Morales will fall down to 12. And is there a big follow-up here from Martin? Well, it doesn't have to be big, but it's good. They're in Thraben Inspector. So, both players use all their mana. Now we'll be untapping and drawing here for our Izzet Phoenix player, Franklin Morales. Although he was able to bob and weave around that Settle the Wreckage, he's still having some difficulty this game. So, he will start with a Shivan Reef, and now that is a Thing in the Ice. Of course, starts with 4 ice counters, so got some work to do. Well, good place to start is an Opt. Thing in the Ice is going to go to the bottom. Mystery card coming is a Chart a Course. Of course, a discard outlet for Arclight Phoenix. So there is Chart a Course. Lightning Axe among the cards drawn. Remember, a discard will have to take place here. It looks like a Steam Vents is headed to the graveyard. So there that goes.
Still got 1 Arclight Phoenix in there, memory serves.
Morales with a lot to think about here. A Lightning Axe in hand. Not a great Lightning Axe target on the battlefield. All these cards actually get a little bit of value on their way kind of in or out.
Yep. Part of the reason it plays so well with Smuggler's Copter.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's Wild Slash to go take care of the 3, but Inspector not your favorite target, but now Arclight Phoenix will come back. The question is, will it attack?
I think you want to make it as tricky as possible for Muller to attack with the Smuggler's Copter in the interim. You know, his deck is very at risk of flooding out in this spot. I know he's got some clues to work with, but even still, the lands have very little value and all the spells matter a lot. So I want to cut them off of looks if it's possible.
So no attack there at the Arclight Phoenix.
I don't think you really want to be in a rush here to transform Thing in the Ice. I don't think you want to be put in a spot where that can happen easily, because, you know, it's not the best thing to be bouncing a bunch of Reflector Mages.
We'll sacrifice a clue and draw a card, will Muller. There's a castle. I'm just going to pass the turn back. Now, castle's a great land for that turn because it gets to mask a lot of different things.
Oh, it's perfect. I mean, this is what we talked about before going down to the match, is if Morales plays into it, he's at risk of all sorts of reaction coming out of Muller's deck that causes issue. And if Morales won't cooperate, then you get to spend your mana doing that.
Mm-hmm. Castle Ardenvale is a new one from Throne of Eldraine, which you get to tap 2 white, and it to create a 1/1 white human creature token.
It also does a lot of work on turns like this, where Awoken Horror has, Thing in the Ice has transformed, and now your castle can serve as a chump blocker or a way to activate the crew while you redeploy your battlefield the following turn.
Mm-hmm. Saving yourself 7 points of damage.
Yep.
Not so bad. So this turn, of course, a discard has to happen. Morales is deciding exactly what card he wants to discard. Wouldn't be surprised if it is the Arclight Phoenix that just got added back to his hand. So there that goes. Wild Slash looks like it's going to go upstairs. Okay. So that's spell 2. Wild Slash going upstairs is spell 3. So I believe Arclight should be headed back here. And he's going to go reaching for it. And now here's an attack.
Yeah, I just don't think this, unless there's another spell following up here, it just doesn't seem like you can spend all of your resources dealing a few damage to Muller when you've just bounced a bunch of Reflector Mages.
Mm-hmm.
If that Awoken Horror attack is easy for him to fend off.
Which in that instance it was.
Right. It just took 3, and now you're really low on resources, and Muller's hand is now stacked with creatures with under the battlefield triggers.
And he does not mind using them again, so he will start with Reflector Mage. Awoken Horror will get bounced. Now it's time to crew the Copter, and we're going to be given some beatdowns. You know, one thing about this format is Muller is going to draw and discard, is that, you know, we're not Copter-centric yet, but we're getting there. How do you feel about a format that's kind of centered around this style of card?
I think Smuggler's Copter's got really excellent gameplay. A lot of decisions, makes the battlefield have a lot of texture to it. The cards you play really matter a lot. It can interact sideways with a lot of different stuff, like Madness and what have you. I can understand sort of the reaction of the time to, wow, there's 32 copies in the top 8, we got to do something about this. Mm-hmm. I wish Smuggler's Copter had gotten a little bit of a longer shelf life in Standard. And I'm happy to see it back in a format with a higher overall power level, where hopefully it's a acceptable thing to have as part of the format for a long time.
Oh, but 6 around. I think the gameplay with it is pretty good.
Also, you can print a lot of very good answers to this card. It's
also
not
true.
hard to find cards that are good against Smuggler's Copter.
Strategic planning here from Franklin. He'll take a look at the top 3 cards, put 1 in his hand, the rest go to the graveyard. And now here come the beatdowns. Arclight Phoenix is going to knock Muller down to 8. Chart, of course, will just be a straight-up draw 2. Except, well, he's going to start Will Muller by drawing a card. And now he'll Spell Queller that, or at least try to. Spell Queller will resolve. And now we're going to head back over to Martin as he very quickly untaps and will draw. 8 life is a decent amount to work with.
Yep. You got to be mindful about not getting burned out if you allow the Phoenix to come in. 5 is not impossible for Morales to put together, so you just want to be mindful about that.
Well, Reflector Mage is going to take care of that Phoenix, pass the turn back. So it looks like we're at 8-8. Now do remember, there is a thing in the ice in the hand that Martin doesn't know about. Here is Crackling Drake. Big Drake will draw a card. Lightning Axe among those cards. So I take that back. There is no longer a thing in the ice in the hand. I mean, it looks like it may have gotten discarded to a Lightning Axe previously. You see Morales taking a look through his graveyard. One card that Morales has not found yet this game that could certainly help him is a copy of Treasure Cruise. Card that he's playing 4 copies of, hasn't found one yet.
Yep. He would be able to do that very easily for 1 mana at this stage.
Mm-hmm. Card that I think many people are scared of in this format, but has not been broken just yet. There's Archangel Avacyn, a very powerful Archangel indeed. This one was a standard powerhouse back in the day, which, truth be told, wasn't that long ago. There is Lightning Axe, discarding Izzet Charm to take care of Archangel Avacyn. We'll get back over Martin's way now that his 4/4 Flash Angel has bit the dust. Martin very quickly tapping some mana. He's got something to do. It is Gideon, ally of Zendikar. That is a 3rd Reflector Mage. He can make an emblem and attack for 9 points of damage. And that will generate a W. So Martin Muller is going to win game number 1 here over Franklin Morales. Azorius Flash up a game over Izzet Phoenix. Reflector Mage still good.
Still great. Got to play his tempo game very effectively there. Fended off Morales' big plays with Reflector Mages and Spell Quellers. Castle was excellent as well.
Castle good.
Yeah.
And you know, not free, but close.
Yeah, opportunity cost is pretty low. You know, it's not 0. Especially once you start interlocking with other dual lands, if you're playing with deserts or you're playing with, you know, Glacial Fortress, lands like that, but it's very powerful in this sort of strategy. Muller gets into spots all the time where he just passes with all the mana up, and having ways to fill out that mana on the turns where your opponent doesn't play an interaction, it's really good.
Sideboard time, folks. We're going to start with Franklin Morales and his 2 Abrades, 2 Anger of the Gods, 2 Chandra Torch of Defiance, 2 copies of the Royal Scions. And he's got plenty of 1-ofs here that I'm sure he can find, given how much card manipulation he has. Ether Gust, Brazen Borrower, Disdainful Stroke, and Fry. Mystical Dispute, Negate, and Spell Pierce. So some decent options here for Franklin, I would say.
Yes. Well, I mean, the problem that he has in game number 1 is a lot of his removal just doesn't line up the right way. He had a lot of shocks running into 3 toughness creatures. The Abrades and Anger of the Gods will be a big upgrade for him on that front. I like Chandra Torch of Defiance in this matchup as well. Just kind of a lot of power on the battlefield. I like Mystic Dispute in this matchup too. Negates and Spell Pierces I'm not really into because I think the battle is mostly over Muller's creatures, not the handful of spells in this deck.
3 Solemnity? How do you want to say that?
So I think it's a derivative of Solemn, right?
Yeah. Solemnity?
Solemnity?
Solemnity. It's got 3 of those. 2 Deputy Detention, 2 Disdainful Stroke. 2 Supreme Verdict, 2 Surge of Righteousness, 2 Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, Aether Gust, and a Dovin's Veto.
I really like Deputy Detention in this matchup. Suppresses a lot of Morales' best cards, and 3 Toughness is not the easiest thing for him to interact with. I like Teferi, Hero of Dominaria in this kind of matchup too. Morales is, you know, he's going to have a fair bit of instant speed interaction. It plays extremely well with Spell Queller. I don't know if that's happened to you yet. Has that happened to you yet?
I don't think so.
So, you play a spell, I Spell Queller it.
Yeah.
I now play Teferi. You untap and kill my Spell Queller.
Oh yeah, you don't get to play the spell.
You do not get to play the spell.
Yeah. So I don't play blue cards So that has not happened to me.
Yeah.
Because blue cards are stupid.
Yeah. Once every, let's say for every hour I play against Teferi Time Raveler,
Yeah.
I think I say one time out loud in an empty room, oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it work? Why wouldn't it work?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's all favorable. Never unfavorable with Teferi.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that works too. Okay. So I would bring in those. A little bit of I think from Muller's perspective, low opportunity cost ways to interact with Thing in the Ice is really good, because if the game is just about managing the battlefield, I think he's going to get the better of it the vast majority of the time. He's really well suited to play that sort of game. Thing in the Ice is sort of a singularly threatening card that can undo a lot of his good work. So cards like Deputy Detention, Teferi, give him some answers to it, I think are very good.
Creature collection, but first game night. Let's talk about it. Hello! You know it's November? Because it is. I don't want you to get outfoxed there, bud.
Ooh.
We got a new member of the creature collection, and for our friends that are running game night, you want to tell them how to go about doing so?
Well, you can head over to go.starcgames.com/game night and find out more information. Every month, Star City Game comes out with new kits with these sleeves and tokens that we send to stores that are signed up for game night. The stores can then run game night however they want to, any format they want. Hopefully some Pioneer getting mixed into our game nights, but it's the store's discretion. Whatever they think is best to serve their local player base, and then the stores can give out these sleeves and tokens. Again, go.starcitygames.com/game night for more information and find the game night closest to you. In stores, if you want to get signed up for game night, contact your Star City Games in-store play representative. Additionally, available now, playmats, sleeves, and player bundles for Outfoxed, our November creature collection.
Do you see the token? It's creature type elf.
Uh-huh.
That's a fox. It's not an elf.
I'm not sure I get it or the anger.
I just think it should be creature type fox.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's not an elf. It's in an elf costume. It's one man's opinion. Castle Ardenvale versus Steam Vents. Here we go. Shivan Reef. An island. Copter. Busted.
Busted.
Bzz. Countered. Is it charm? Powerful. The versatility. Does it all. Slices. Dices. Counter Smuggler's Copter.
It's one of those, it's advocates. It's hard to imagine a spot where it's bad. And I have two responses to that.
I at least have one.
Yes, it is. And two, the ceiling is pretty low.
Yes. I was going to say it's hard to imagine a spot that it's good.
I don't have any trouble imagining that.
Opt number 2. Do we have a third spell? No? That was all in the end step. Okay.
My decks are typically in this beautiful intersection where you can talk yourself into Spell Pierce for 2 or Shock for 2 as being good enough. And so I play against that card a lot in game 2s and 3s. And I appreciate it. I appreciate people doing that for me.
That's fair. That's fair. Here is an Arclight Phoenix. That'll resolve. Beatdowns. Muller down to 17. Brazen Bar, we're going to come down. This card's a good one, folks. No petty theft necessary, just 3/1 flash flyer that can only block flying creatures.
From the Azorius Flash perspective, a lot of what you want to do is just get a lot of power onto the battlefield as fast as possible to leverage your reaction as well as possible. So you might say, well, why not just bounce it and then you have this thing later ready to go? But from Muller's perspective, the more that he can kind of add pressure to the battlefield, the more it forces Morales' hand to play into his reaction. And those are the tempo swings that can really put Azorius Flash over the top.
So 17 to 15 in favor of Martin right now after the attack with the 3/1. Now Reflector Mage is going to say, get out of here. Hollow Fountain is the battlefield tapped. We're going to head back over to Franklin Morales, our Is It Phoenix player. He'll draw a card. Picked up a mountain. He does still have that Arclight Phoenix in hand. No Treasure Cruise yet, though.
A lot of really good spots here for some of Morales' sideboard cards. Anger of the Gods and Chandra Torch of Defiance would both be excellent here. Chandra, if you could pair it with a Wild Slash to clear up the battlefield.
Even better then.
Yep. That's the whole thing.
Not going to find a lot of haste running around in this Azorius Flash deck. There is the Chandra. Minus. Kill that. Was this the 1-2 that you were dreaming of?
This is a big turn.
That's the 1-2 that you were dreaming of. Wild Slash will take care of the Brazen Borrower.
It's not like Martin's deck is flush with haste, so it's not the easiest thing for him to take care of a Planeswalker if he's entering his turn with nothing on the battlefield.
Castle Ardenvale and other lands are up and at the ready here for Muller. I've got a feeling he's not just going to be making a 1-1, though. There is Crackling Drake. That's a 4-power creature.
I'm really surprised to see Morales not open up this turn on plussing Chandra for double red.
Okay.
Because once you're at the spot where you're tapping dual lands to cast your Crackling Drake,
sure,
you're at risk of not being able to follow up with all of your spells or taking a bunch of damage unnecessarily. And the odds that you want 2 mana this turn is huge. The other part about it is, if you spend all your mana on your main phase, you can't Chandra plus and then float the mana in the next turn. But if you plus Chandra first, you might be able to go to Muller's turn with 2 lands untapped, or 4 lands untapped even. And how much is it really worth to deal a point of damage, 2 points of damage in this spot? It's not really that valuable.
Archangel Avacyn has arrived. Martin wants to take a look at the backside, make sure he knows exactly how that works, because it does work in combination with Selfless Spirit, of course. Avacyn the Purifier. When Avacyn the Purifier transforms, well, it transforms into Avacyn the Purifier. It does 3 damage to each other creature and each opponent, so it would be a convenient way of taking care of the Chandra that's on the battlefield.
I mean, this doesn't touch Planeswalkers, though, right?
Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry. Each other creature and each opponent. That's my fault.
It's still a big flyer that's outside of Chandra range. It's good for some tasks, but Muller would still have to make an attack here.
Well, a clean attack he can make at the Chandra. Selfless Spirit can protect it.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
Good looking turn.
With Spell Queller at the ready.
And this is what I mean about Morales could really use 2 more untapped lands here. Martin has to play around way less of the range of interaction here.
Not a great spot here for Morales with regards to tendering a block. So he's just going to have to let his Planeswalker go. After having that great turn with Chandra plus Wild Slash, Martin has caught back up a little bit here and is taking care of Chandra. See if Martin has anything else to do this turn, or if we're just going to head back over to Franklin. Looks like Franklin's going to have some end-step effects with the 2 mana he has available. Maybe not. He'll just untap. Arclight Phoenix. Is it Charm? Chart a Course. And it looks like maybe a
Fiery Temper.
Yeah. 3 copies of that. I'm going to say, no pyroclasms here, folks.
Something that's really struck me in the game so far is just how frequently Morales has been caught with the wrong removal spell in his hand. He's had 2 damage against a battlefield of 3 toughness creatures a lot. Now he has Fiery Temper looking at Selfless Spirit and Archangel Avacyn. Not a great spell against either one of those cards.
Arclight Phoenix leaving up a Steam Vents. And a Sulfur Falls. No good attacks, though. In the face of Archangel Avacyn and Selfless Spirit. We've seen this 1-2 punch before. It's been a little while.
Yeah.
But these 2 cards together, they make it pretty hard on people that are looking to attack.
And part of what makes this so powerful is just, it's an agency issue here for Morales. Every path that he has of engaging in combat or trying to use a removal spell opens him up to a lot of really bad potential responses there for Muller.
Well, Muller on the inside is going to sacrifice Selfless Spirit, which means he has interest in transforming Archangel Avacyn to Avacyn the Purifier. So 3 damage goes around. Goodbye, Arclight Phoenix. Franklin will take 3, and now it's time to draw.
My count currently 4 spells in Morales' graveyard.
Oh, there's your attack. It's not hard for Morales to change that. But Muller has set this up beautifully. You got to give him some credit. You would expect nothing less from a player of his caliber, because this Is It Charm is not resolving, and it's not going to the graveyard either.
Yeah, so it looks like Morales is going to either have to chump block or just take this 6 on the chin. Now, good news for Morales here. It looks like Martin's hand has just 2 lands. So a lot of ways to catch up from here. Lightning Axe would be a huge draw.
Thing in the Ice, not the best draw we've ever seen, but we'll have to see what Franklin's hand materializes into by the end of this turn, because he does have a Chart of Course as well, and we can't forget about the Arclight Phoenix that's in the graveyard too. So there's a lot that can happen this turn here for Morales. There's Chart of Course. So draw 1 in Thing in the Ice and 2 in Steam Vents. Time to discard a card. Seems like that second copy of Thing in the Ice is a bit redundant, but you could say the same thing about the Steam Vents.
Well, the Fiery Temper also allows you to unlock a draw 2, discard 2 from your Is It Charm if you want it.
Very true. And it looks like Fiery Temper is the place to be. So the Madness will allow Fiery Temper to be cast for just a singleton red. And now Spell Queller down. Is It Charm will be placed onto the stack. Nothing to counter here. Dealing 2 damage doesn't do all that much, so it'll be a draw 2, discard 2.
Big hit there. Arclight Phoenix in the mix.
And there's another spell in hand, so there goes Steam Vents. And now I believe this is spell 3. So there's an opt. Take a look at that top card. It becomes the bottom one very quickly. Thing in the Ice not needed. I think that was another Arclight Phoenix. Now, I don't think there's a way to discard that one. But this ended up being a pretty darn good turn. And that Crackling Drake.
Is this lethal now?
I mean, that Crackling Drake is pretty big. I'll do a quick count here. Crackling Drake must be an 8. Well, Martin Muller needs a good draw step. There's the Thing in the Ice post combat. Told you, this turn ended up being a pretty darn good one. And that Crackling Drake was an attack for 8. Had it been for 9, in combination with the 2 Arclight Phoenixes, it would have been lethal. Smuggler's Copter passed the turn back. And Fiery Temper looks like it was the draw step, and that would be a really good draw step here for Franklin if that's the case. He'll start by just hard casting an Arclight Phoenix. Well, you got to open yourself up for the opportunity to draw Settle the Wreckage if it's still in your deck. Looks like he's going to make a blocker.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't...
Oh, no. Oh,
you're
no.
You're just dead on the way back.
He's just dead on the way back now, isn't he? Oh, boy. And this puts him down to 1, and that is going to do it. Martin Muller's going to win this game and match after a bit of a miscalculation there. Morales getting a little too aggressive on that turn with that 3rd copy of Arclight Phoenix after drawing Fiery Temper.